Welcome back to the Blindsiders. I am Ben. I'm back. I was let out of Dylan's truck, so I'm back here this week, and I'm joined here by Dylan and Brian to talk about episode 9, I think, of Survivor 42. It's hard because the double episode. I don't know if that counts as 2 or 1. I think it counts as 1, but
yeah,
we'll go with episode 9. Right off the top here, a little bit, jumping ahead, but I'd like to congratulate Dylan for winning the winner pick selection game that we did for this season, as my winner pick, Chanel, who will be going out this episode, leaving Roxroy as the sole winner pick of our 3 left.
I wanna give Dylan an out. You don't have to eat the pepper. You won. You beat us.
I said if he doesn't win, I have to eat the pepper. So
all right.
I thought it was gonna go. I completely forgot that Brian already had somebody out because it was voted out the
It's immediately.
So this is news to me. Yeah. Patted my back after being the first one out last season. So
Yep.
Only good things moving forward.
Yeah, the ranking basically has flipped, right? Because last season,
Right.
Brian's winner pick made it all the way to Final Tribal and ended up in second. And then, similar to now, I have a winner pick who went in the early jury, and then Dylan has a winner pick still in the game. Hopefully, your winner pick will go all the way this time.
It'd be fun to get it right. I think it'd be good. We've been really good in Big Brother, I must say. The Have Not Room crushed it. We haven't picked one here yet, but we will. It's only our second season, so.
No, for sure. Me and Brian did do like a pre-season for 40. We didn't do any other podcasts besides the pre-season coverage of that. And both of our winner picks made the final 5 in that season. Neither of us got the winner, but both the winner picks were in the final 5. So.
I don't know, I was doing so good. I had 2 straight second place finishers, and then Zach, not cool, man. You voted off first. Not good.
I'll join you there, Brian. Though, Chanel is gonna make it pretty far and get eliminated in this episode, but not the most encouraging showing. We actually open up this episode here with a bunch of conversations, basically with people in the majority doing damage control with the people who were left out of the Lydia boot, and the main one that was shown was damage control between I believe it was Hai and Chanel, where Chanel is clearly upset and flustered with the fact that she had no clue what the hell was going on.
I mean, that's not surprising, right? Like, I feel, granted, the Daniel, Chanel, Jenny fiasco, really just put her on the wrong side of everything, and she just was never able to recover. But I think in her mind, she was at least, loyal to Hai and, hey, I'm with you 100%. So it had to hurt a little bit, at least, for her to be left out again. Because, I mean, the last time... we don't know if she necessarily did know what the plan was to vote off Daniel, but she didn't vote for Daniel. As will come up a million times this episode, she voted for Mike instead. So, this had to be rough.
Sorry, I'm trying to get myself pretty. I'm trying to fix my camera during all this.
No worries.
Yeah, very disappointing because I was very high on her going into the season. And I read an article after this, after the episode too, that she felt she was vilified throughout the show and through the edit and all that. And I personally think, at least, all we have to go off is the infamous edit, is that I think she just played a really poor game, and her game was kind of blown up by Daniel, but she had multiple opportunities after that to kind of fix the damage that was done by that, and didn't really seem to do so. And I think she kind of thought she could just cruise by with Hai after that, which I don't know why. I don't know why she felt so tight with Hai. I mean, I guess because they were coming from the same tribe, but I think just poor gameplay in the end. I don't think that she was. I think the main argument of that article was that she was vilified because she was trying to play the game aggressive, and if it was a male doing it, he wouldn't have been so much. Which think there's maybe potentially a discussion to be had there for sure with Survivor, but I don't think that was the case with her. I think just bad gameplay and just never able to really recover after that whole tribal with Daniel.
Yeah, I agree. I think that like that's definitely an argument that does apply in a lot of cases with a lot of like more like aggressive, strategic, like kind of gamey female players. But I don't think that that's like the main criticism I would have of Chanel's game is that she played too hard. If anything, I think that she probably didn't play hard enough. And uh, like as we like, obviously, I think that that might be a reference to the risking her vote decision,
Yep.
which
Yep.
was, probably like the initial catalyst of her game falling apart, which I still don't think there is a defense of from a strategic perspective. Like, it's not about playing hard or playing like not hard in that case. It's just kind of like not playing smart. And after that, when you're already in a hole, you kind of have to play hard in order to like undo all of the damage that you've done to your game. Yeah, at that point, like Brian said, she kind of just laid back and just like let the game happen around her and just like assumed that that would be enough. And we kind of saw her have a misunderstanding of her own social control ability a number of times. Firstly, with the confessional, where she talked about how, I don't need a vote to be able to control the vote, which turned out to be like very wrong. And then now in this episode at the start, she has a confessional after this talk where she talks about how she has like basically been blindsided by the fact that she thought that she was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers, but that clearly wasn't the case. And
Yeah.
so
Chess, not checkers.
that's
Classic.
yeah, definitely not a term that's been ruined for me.
No,
From
that
yeah,
and rather die on my feet than, or like die on my knees or whatever he said.
yeah.
Oh man, so it's
Um,
a Big Brother reference for those. One player just said chess not checkers 100,000 times in a season, and now it's forever linked in my mind to him, which is unfortunate.
Uh-huh. But for sure, I just I don't think that the criticism of Chanel is that she played too hard or like too aggressively. I think the criticism of her is that she just didn't ever really have correct read on the game and like a correct read on her place in the game and the
Mhm.
necessary steps that she would have to take in order to improve that place in the game. And she just, if anything, played too passively, um, and kind of feeling too comfortable in a position that she didn't actually have.
Yeah, I mean, compare her, I guess, lack of aggressiveness here to Romeo's, who's like equally poorly positioned, but is aware. And while he may catch, I think, undeserved flack for it, at least he's trying to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas at least it never showed Chanel trying to aggressively maneuver herself in the way that it has shown Romeo. And I mean, I guess that was maybe part of her strategy, but it didn't. It didn't work.
Yeah, no, 100%. We'll get into like the Romeo stuff in the end because I don't know if it was wishful thinking on my behalf, but I went to the tribal council thinking that Romeo was going to be the boot. I think it was probably biased because I didn't want
Mm,
to believe that my winner pick was going to be eliminated. But
yeah.
not that I basically 2 or 3 episodes ago had written off Chanel's winner anyways. So, but
Mm.
I was hoping she'd get a little farther. But yeah, I guess we can move into the reward challenge, which is the first of like 3 or 4 reruns of twists and things that were on last season.
Hmm.
Um, where last season, who was it that sat out and didn't
I
find
believe it
out?
was Xander.
Was it
No,
Xander?
no, it was
No,
a female. It was
I don't know. I
it
can't
was
remember.
it wasn't Liana, right? It wasn't
Oh, wait,
Liana.
actually, no, I think it was Liana.
Was it
was it
Liana?
I
Liana?
think it was Liana, yeah. Now that I think I remember it now, yeah. I think that she like looked very tepidly and didn't like fully commit to looking, if I remember
Mm.
correctly. But yeah,
Drea is not like that. There's nothing tepid about Drea. I love it.
yeah.
She's going so hard this season, and it's great.
Yeah. So first of all, they draw rocks for teams, and Marianne initially is the one who is left out of the rock draw and would be sitting out. But because Drea, this is what she's saying to us, and she says it in confessional later. So I guess
And she said it on
believe
Twitter too.
Yeah. So that the reason that she wanted to swap wasn't really strategic, but more so, or it was strategic to a point. It was strategic from a social sense of like winning good faith for Marianne, but it was mostly because she doesn't like peanut butter and jelly, which is what the reward
One of
was.
the most criminal things said. Go on.
Wow.
She's like, worth playing for, and she was like, absolutely not, Jeff.
Yeah,
I'll
not
be
really.
sitting out.
I'll take this one. I'll save my energy for the immunity challenge, I think.
Couldn't believe my ears. Unless she's allergic to peanut butter, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, she said on Twitter she just doesn't like peanut butter and can't understand why people would like it with jelly. So,
I mean, I like peanut butter well enough. Like I usually will do bagels with peanut butter just for the extra protein. But I actually, I agree. I think peanut butter and jelly is pretty mid. I think it's a little bit overrated.
I'll throw you in jail too.
back in the trunk.
Put you back in the trunk.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not. It wouldn't like. I don't. I'm a pescatarian, and it still wouldn't even be in my top 10 sandwiches. So
You know what's very underrated is peanut butter and honey.
Oh, I agree. That is
Yeah.
really good.
Or peanut butter and fluff. Peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter, honey, fluff, and jelly all together.
yep.
Yeah, we gotta do a tier of the peanut butter combination sandwiches. It's
Well, if we're talking about peanut butter in general, I think Reese's Pieces at the top. I think
the
that's
best
number
peanut
one.
butter candy.
The best peanut butter product.
Just all of them.
Yeah.
I could just eat like a glob of peanut butter, like just standing up, just at a
100%. 100%. Spoonful
Oh, yeah.
of peanut butter, so good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the real big question is crunchy or smooth. What do you guys prefer? What would you most prefer on Survivor?
Probably crunchy because you're getting more of a full peanut.
I agree. I prefer smooth in normal life, but if I was on Survivor, I'd want crunchy for sure.
But you're not really getting a whole lot of crunch other than some sand and your rice, something like
Right,
that. I
right.
probably want some crunch out of that. But they were eating it on like these like whole ass like
Like
rye.
French bread.
These
Yeah.
big,
Or something, yeah.
like I wouldn't eat on that bread. Give me like a nice little like thin little wheat bread loaf, and then I go to town. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it,
man.
Drea was right. She just said that was a gross peanut butter and jelly.
It was a lot.
It was like falling apart too.
Yeah, I did like that the Brown bagged it for them. That was nice. Although it made me think, I was like, and obviously this was filmed during COVID, they cannot do this, but it's like, man, rewards have changed a lot in Survivor.
Well, I mean, even before COVID, the rewards definitely have been going downhill in terms of quality.
Yeah.
A lot of we're gonna give you the crew's leftover lunch and you can eat it back at camp situations.
Yeah, once they crossed that line of you're going to have it back at camp, there was no going back.
Yep.
They're like, oh, this is good enough, then fine. Save money.
Yeah. But anyways, the most important thing from the challenge, other than Jonathan's crazy come from behind victory, where Omar sinks 4, and then Jonathan's like, okay, my turn, and then he sinks 5 before Omar can get his 5th in.
Yeah, Nets could have used him last night. That's what I'll say.
Omar's 5th ball traveled halfway across the ocean. That thing really won.
The rim shot that he had was so close, that
Yep.
that just had to bounce slightly differently, and it was in. So
Yeah.
My 180 on Omar just continues. I like him hitting all those J's, man. Good for him. He's quickly become one of my favorite players on that season.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was he was grandma throwing it too. He was he wasn't doing proper basketball form or anything. He was just
do whatever works. Yeah.
Underhand, two-handed, lobbing them in.
I think the problem is was JD last season too, thinking that he was little Kobe out there.
Money.
And just doing
Money, yeah.
and completely missing.
Yeah.
Do whatever works. Do whatever works in Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very it was almost like movie-esque, where like the nerd is about to have this heroic sports moment and the jock just comes in and just crushes him. It's like, all right, well,
Back in the locker.
yeah, exactly. It's like, know your place.
Mm-hmm.
So like, remember, Omar, you're the brains here. I'm the brawn.
Sorry, those on the simulcast. I keep putting my hand up to the thing to try to like regain its focus. It's been great the past like 2 weeks, and the focus thing is all off right now. So
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah. But anyways, the most important thing coming out of this challenge is, as Brian referenced, Drea is no slouch on the sit-out bench. I was afraid at first because I was afraid that if Drea didn't find this advantage, that Jeff was going to kill somebody. Because he when he was talking to the camera, he scared me, and I was at home on the couch. So I can't imagine trying to deal with his wrath for a second season in a row. An advantage goes unfound.
well,
Yeah.
Props to her. She like immediately started looking immediately. Or Liana last season, if it was the Liana that did it, didn't. I don't even think she tried to look. So, an aware player finding an aware advantage. Good for her. She's stacked now. I mean, there's just. What does she have? 4 different advantages or immunities
She
now?
does.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
It's got to be a record. I'm pretty sure it's a record, right? It has to be.
I
'Cause,
can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone. At
Yeah.
the same time, people maybe have had like 4 idols over the course of a season.
Yeah. No, at the same time, I mean,
No.
I'm pretty sure it's the record for most advantages left idols at the same.
I'm much more intrigued by her having the beware advantage of being able to steal someone's idol if they ask, because I don't think that there's as much as like this rivalry as there was last season between Liana and Xander, where I think Dre is probably going to use it strategically. And so I'm glad it went this. I'm glad it went to her, somebody that I think is probably going to continue to just go further and further in this game. She's got to start using them though, like because we're down to what 10 people now. Got to start using them. Can't hold on to it to the point that it just becomes useless, like for Xander last season.
I mean, I don't know. She's in a good spot. She doesn't really need to use them right now.
She is in a very, very good spot. Yeah, that is true.
But yeah, she gets back to camp, and we're kind of wondering what is the beware part of this actually going to be, because it seemed pretty really freaking easy to get this. It didn't seem that hard, and we're going to eventually find out, as Dylan said, it's a knowledge is power advantage, which is the most broken advantage in the history of the game. So what's the downside here? What's the catch? And the catch is that she has to stick her hand in her arm, like basically like elbow deep into a thing of paint in order to pull the advantage out, and then panic because her arm is covered in paint.
I was thinking about this while watching it. Do you think the producers made her put her arm in? Because I'm not putting my arm in the red paint. I'm finding a stick.
Yeah, find a
and
stick.
I'm fishing something out. Like absolutely not. But maybe they made her do it.
They must have, because that was my very first thought as well. Is I would have just grabbed like 2 sticks to try to fish it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have. And, I would have just pretended it was blood. I would have maybe attempted to even slice my arm open a little bit to really sell it.
That would have worked. I mean, she needed something like that. She didn't get it all off. But also there's an ocean. You can go into the ocean. Yeah. Like, why'd you go right back to camp?
I do love the producers though. If they did force it to, I do love that little like twist to that. I think it makes it much more interesting than somebody grabbing it and like go running to hide. That there is some sort of evidence left. But I kind of wonder too if like, oh, maybe don't wash it all off. Maybe let's see if someone else can find it. Maybe, or like someone's like, oh, she asked like, am I good? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like just clear smudge.
Right. Right. Yeah, you're fine. Don't worry. Head back to camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I think it shouldn't have been interesting, because I think if she played it right, she should have just washed her arm all the way clean. But because she didn't, it created some interesting situation here where Tori, very very astute when it comes to. She's very aware of everything but her own self-awareness.
Yeah, she's about to be like the Survivor Cassandra. Like
Yeah.
she's gonna tell everyone that this is a thing, and everyone's gonna be like, "Interesting. I just don't enjoy your vibes, so I'm not gonna consider this."
Yeah, and that's valid. There's definitely been a history on Survivor of people who were saying correct information, but because they were not trusted or liked, the information fell on deaf ears. And it's kind of a boy who cried wolf-esque, right? You lose once you lose that credibility. It's you have to get a prediction correct where nobody saw it coming before people
Right.
start trusting you again. I think.
I was about to
And
say,
by that point, it's too late.
all these people that Tori has in one way or another tried to blindside or backstab. She like gets very surprised when they won't tell her the truth right away. I've noticed that about her this season. She's very surprised that not everyone is telling her every single thing about the game that they're aware of.
She just has a very bad perception of self and how it relates to everyone else. In her mind, she's like, "I'm killing this. Like everyone loves me."
Yeah, she's playing chess.
yes.
Everyone else is playing checkers.
Right. When everyone else is like, "Man, I can't wait for Tori to lose immunity and vote her off."
I mean, maybe I guess the fact that she will this episode win the second immunity in a row. I mean, maybe like the fact that she's trying so hard in these immunities is indicative that she has at least some kind of understanding of her position, right? And I think she was left out of the first vote, like the Lydia vote. So I don't know. I think she probably has some awareness of her position in the game, if not her like the way that her personality comes off.
So not to jump too far ahead, but I guess while we're on Tori, did she lie to Romeo saying that Roxroy told her about them wanting to vote for Romeo?
I don't think so.
Like, did we ever see Roxroy tell her that they were going to vote for Romeo?
No, we don't. But the way it was kind of treated was like, "Oh, Romeo's so paranoid. We are going to go after him, but like, come on. Stop coming to us and being a, buzzkill about it."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, my read was that conversation did happen, especially because of the way that Roxroy reacted when Romeo eventually approached him, where he was like, "Yeah, I did say that. I did hear those three names." So I don't know how Tori would have gotten that information otherwise, because like that was the correct information. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're intended to believe that was true.
Yeah. What else do we have in this?
I mean, that's pretty much it up until the immunity challenge, I think. Other than, I think Tori does run to Marianne and tell Marianne that she is sketched out by Drea and thinks that Drea is up to something in some capacity because of the red mark, and Drea's poor attempt at lying about why she got the red mark, which is, I was just painting. Pan over to the clearly not opened at all paint.
Yeah, I didn't even know we had a tribe merge name until I looked it up after the episode. That's how little they care about it. It used to be such a thing, but no time for it in shortened Survivor seasons.
I noticed it when, I think, like in the first camp scene, I think they showed it as a lower.
They showed it the name, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it last year that they did, or what season one that they did America? Was that
season 30? Yeah. America. It wasn't America. It was America.
Yeah. Somehow, still not the worst merge tribe name. It's up there though.
What's the worst one? Do you think, Ben?
I would say Merlonio up there.
That was bad.
And Anila Dam up there.
Right.
No bag either the best or worst.
I love No Bag personally. I love everything about Gabon, so it's hard for me. What's the best merge tribe name? I'll go Ben first and then Dylan since we've seen it.
I like Soliantu.
Soliantu. That's a good one. What about you, Dylan? What do you think?
I can't even think of one off the top of my head. So I think that also shows how, like, because I've obviously been more in the newer seasons, how much has been phased out.
You've also been like binging the crap out of them, which makes it hard.
Yeah. No, I just hated the America one. I thought that was dumb. What is this season's Kula Kula?
Kula, yeah.
Yeah.
There used to be bigger deals. They used to put more focus on it. I liked Dang Rain from Philippines. That was a good one. Dabu, right? In Micronesia. That was good. No Bag. I said, like that one. Yin Yang wasn't bad considering the season it was on. I hate when they're portmanteaus. That's so lazy. So lazy. I like it when they come up with something original.
I think the only portmanteau one that I thought was fine was Solarion. That one was, because that sounds like a Pokemon.
That does sound like a Pokemon. That's what I thought when they named it that too. Yeah. But I always think it's Shibogo Mogo, and I was like, this is an all-star season. Yeah. Could do better than that.
Yeah. Forza, also fun because it was Coach thinking that he knew how to speak Portuguese, but in fact the word he gave was Italian.
That's my favorite. Anything Coach does is my favorite. So
yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah.
What was his other ones? Tuna, right? That was the South Pacific one. Yeah. Oh man. All right. I think we got enough.
That's a little bit on a side. Anyways, moving on to the immunity challenge, and we have our third returning twist for some reason that didn't need to be returning, which is the Angelina Cardona Memorial Challenge.
If you do not bring Angelina back, no bullshit right here. I am being 100% serious. She's a game changer. She brought up like the statistical, or the what word am I looking for here? Disparity. Thank you, between men and women finding idols, and ever since then, women have found idols at a really solid clip, and I do credit Angelina for that. And then now the rice negotiation.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I can't imagine if they do a Second Chances 2 that Angelina is not the first person they call.
Voting every day for Angelina.
She is there is no way they're doing a returning player season and not at least offering her a spot. Whether or not she plays, obviously, because that's her girl.
Right. I think she's a new mom and all that. It's tough, but I want to see her back.
Do you think if 43 was a returning player season that we know about it now, so they can do if they did? Well, I guess the hypothetical is that if they did fan voting, similar to Second Chance, where it was all fan votes, and so I imagine it was voting accumulated over a certain amount of time, or not just the night of.
Right. We would know if it was a returning season because we have people on the inside who are connected, and Ben and I would definitely get it through the grapevine, and I have not heard anything about that.
I heard rumors months ago, but they was just very much similar to the rumors that happen kind of every year. I have not heard anything solidified about there being returning players.
Almost every year, they at least reach out to some people to gauge interest, and I'm pretty sure that's what that was. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they filmed at least one season by now, right? Or about to.
I feel like they'd probably maybe be about because it will come back in September.
Yeah, I think their filming schedule is different now. I think it's either May, June, and then July, August, or something like that. I don't think they filmed 43 yet.
Okay, so I mean, hey, maybe, but I don't feel. And I also feel like doing an all-star season so quickly after being this is a soft reboot of the series would be I don't want that. I say maybe season 45, maybe even wait till season 47. That way you can kind of mirror the original all-star, format. Do 7 seasons and then an all-star season. Yeah. But yeah.
I don't think we're in any threat of cancellation, so maybe you're right.
No.
5, because I think they we went over this a few weeks ago that their streaming numbers on Paramount are insane.
No, look, I mean, Survivor survived COVID. It's not gonna it's not going.
I literally for years, I was always like, yeah, I watch Survivor, and people would be like, it's still on. I've met a lot of people like in the last year who are like, oh, I'm loving Survivor. I've been watching it. Just today on a meeting at work, someone was like, I don't really watch much TV. Oh, except for Survivor. I watched that. I'm like, what is happening? This is like a show that was completely on the way out like 5-10 years ago. Almost embarrassed to admit that I still was like a fan, let alone a super fan. And now it's had a complete resurgence.
Yeah, I mean, thank Netflix probably
Yeah.
for at least some of that.
Yep.
That's how I
Yeah.
started watching Kageyan and got thrown into it after that.
A really great pick of a season to put on there too. I give a lot of credit for them.
I really want to go back and rewatch it now that I have like knowledge of the game and all that to kind of appreciate it anymore. No, I think the only reason I ask about it about the returning players is I think I'm desperate for like an all-star style season with everything I've watched because I haven't watched Winter as I War yet. But now that I say that was literally 2 seasons ago, so understandably, I guess why they're not going to jump right back into that.
And it was kind of like the apex of like the whole show. Like it was like 40 seasons leading up to it.
Their Hall of Fame game.
It really was. Yeah, it was great. And like, excuse me, I think they'll do other all-star seasons or like half-star seasons, but you know, the 10s are in that area, you know, like season 8, then, you know, they had season 20 was a full all-star season, then season 31, I guess technically, but then season 40. And then there were other random all-star and half-star seasons thrown in the mix over that. So we'll see. Season 50 for sure will be an all-star season.
Oh no, there will be by season 50 at least. There will be another all-star season for sure.
Yeah.
I've heard the other rumor I did hear was a third Blood versus Water. That's what
I'm down. I'm as long as it's like the first one. Even though I love San Juan del Sur, I think the first one worked really well.
Yeah, first one, but no Redemption Island.
Yeah.
San Juan del Sur is one of my favorite seasons. So
yeah, me too.
I've never seen the original Blood versus Water, so.
It's good, and I think those types of seasons, Blood versus Water, fans versus favorites, are really good for putting like on the bubble all stars on, and it's like, all right, show us what you really have, and then like you can, like a player who's like pretty decent can kind of elevate themselves into being like a legendary player.
Yep. All right, that's probably enough for that tangent. We still have the rest of the episode to talk about here. We don't want to go too long here.
It's not like there's a ton in the episode to dissect.
That's fair. It was a relatively straightforward episode compared to what we've got the last few weeks. So, yeah, we have Immunity Challenge here. They're redoing the Angelina twist, where Jeff is going to pretend to negotiate with them and then tell them that 4 people can sit out, and he's cool with that. Because somehow Jeff is actually a worse negotiator than Drew Christie.
He's not a badass. I don't know what to say, Ben.
Basically. He's basically just like, we're going to do 9. And they're like, how about 2? He's like, 2. I don't know about 2. Can we do 6? And they're like, okay, can we do 3? He's like, okay, well, I'll do 4. I'll do 4.
His literally original thing was, I will do 4, but they don't know that. And then he's just like immediately like 4. 4's good.
Yeah. And so we have Omar, Marianne, who puts on a little bit of a show to make people feel bad for her. Lindsay and Drea are the 4 who end up sitting out of this endurance balance immunity challenge, which doesn't last super long in terms of the first like 5 people. Well, they all drop out within like 5 to 10 minutes.
I think this new format of Survivor where they starve the contestants is not like great for endurance challenges. When you need your mental focus to be the big like point of a challenge, it's not going to work out that well.
Yeah, no, definitely questionable in terms of like whether it's creating good TV to starve these people. Hopefully, with the rice they just got, though, the next challenge will be a little bit more exciting. Because this one, very quickly comes down to Tori versus Jonathan. Funnily enough, Chanel also was in there with a shot pretty long, which is too bad in hindsight, given she ends up getting voted out in the episode. But we end up with the showdown of the two challenge beasts of the season, Jonathan and Tori.
Yeah.
And,
What do we think of this challenge? I like it because I don't think it's like something that would immediately favor anybody. Like who's other than Coach, like who would do this in their life? But as we all know, Coach has
Coach
done
has.
everything.
Coach would have been up there forever.
Or he would have immediately fallen out and like made an excuse about it.
The first time they did this challenge, I don't think there was a balance beam, right? I think it was just the ball and the sticks. Am I wrong there? Or maybe there was like a variation of
hard to say.
Challenge with the balls and the sticks. I like it. It looks it's super tough. I mean, it's for sure in the category of the challenges that like kills like your forearms. They've done like a bunch of those, so maybe I'm kind of throwing that into that batch. But yeah, I like this challenge. But I think you bring up a good point. I think that starving them is really depleting a lot of this. I mean, you had 4 people immediately be like, "Fuck this, I'd rather eat," which they do in a lot of seasons, but. This one in particular, it's very easy for the people that are comfortable to want to bow out, and then when you see people just drop that quickly, I think Ben gave the first people that dropped too long. I think it was only Jonathan, Tori, Chanel. I think after that everybody else was out in the first like 2 minutes. Yep. So I don't know. I hope they don't keep the eating. The depletion of food and all that going for the next few seasons. And though it seems like that they're really trending towards keeping it towards a shorter game, which will obviously involve them having to keep doing this. But I do think that's an interesting point that like without this food, that the reward challenge they barely even showed half of it. They mostly just glued in on Andrea trying to find the immunity or the clue. So there was really not a whole lot to watch there until the very end. So I hope that they find like a balance, because I think that it's becoming more and more prevalent between last season and this season that challenges are just not the go-to anymore for the game.
Yeah, I think too. If ever there was a time to do a like, do you want to eat or do you want to participate? It would be now.
Yeah, and that's actually more interesting because you can't just like martyr yourself, really.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You have to look it's more interesting to force the players to look selfish and cocky than to give them the option to be a martyr. Right, in my opinion.
Yeah, or even do like what they did in Second Chance, where it's like I need a certain number of people to sit out, but you have to like individually make the choice to sit out, which is interesting and led to like, what was it, like Joe versus Keith straight up, just those two. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you make it much less of a team reward rather than an individual gluttony or reward, makes for much more interesting TV.
Yeah, definitely. But hey, congratulations, Tori. You know, no one really in the game or online seems to like Tori for reasons. Lots of immunity jokes made. Lots of double immunity jokes, of course, made at Tori's expense due to her stance on vaccinations. But
I will say I don't dislike Tori as much as everybody else does. I think that she's playing a very weird game, because I'm very big on trying to sometimes separate the artist from the art.
right.
As I always say to Brian. So I'm like, I'm not rooting for her to win, but I'm not as down on her as many other people are. I think it's very impressive. Now she's won the 2 only individual immunity challenges, both of which were basically against Jonathan, and it was really against Lindsay last time. But it's just it's impressive. Both are really more finesse challenges. So I wonder once we get a full physical. I wonder if they'll even give a full physical with Jonathan still around, because he's just gonna tear it up. But yeah, props to Tori. I hope she doesn't win, but I think she's shaping up to be probably there towards maybe final 5. Maybe I think is where she's gonna wind up.
Yeah, I think it was like episode 1 or 2. I said that Tori, I think, is final Tribal Council loser.
Yep.
Yeah, and like everybody everybody since the start of the season has been making Angelina comparisons to her in terms of
Yes.
like a story arc, not in terms of like personal, whatever. But I also I enjoy what Tori's bringing to the season, and I'm able to enjoy it because I'm 100% confident that she's not winning, right? So like the only person like because coming into this episode it was Tori and Chanel were the two people I was pretty confident were not winning. Coming out of this episode, Tori is like the one person on the season that I can say without a doubt is not winning the season. Everybody else, I think you could make an argument for, like even like somebody like Lindsay,
Mhm.
you could make an argument as getting kind of like an Erica style treatment. Um,
I have a really,
so
I have a really hard time seeing Romeo win. Personally.
yeah, Romeo's for sure
It's in a
like
tough
kind
spot.
of yeah, but
I guess speaking of, I don't think they treated Romeo fair. Romeo like pretty accurately assessed his position in the game, and High was very rude about it. It was like, okay, yeah, we want to get rid of you, but like, don't bring it up. That's awkward. I don't know what you guys think.
yeah, I agree. I think it's because he wasn't the immediate target. Uh, it was like a lot easier for High to get defensive about it because it's like, oh yeah, we're not targeting you now. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're on the outs clearly, and you have no idea what's going on, and like you're definitely the backup in case some crazy shit happens and like
Mhm.
Chanel shot in the darks or whatever. But like, you're not going now. So like, why are you freaking out? You're just kind of painting a target on your back for no reason.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, I mean, we can play out what happens here, right? Romeo is approached by Tori. Tori tells him that Roxroy told her that he was one of the three names that was being thrown around alongside Chanel and Marianne. This is news to Romeo because Romeo had only previously heard the two names that weren't him. And he approaches Omar and Roxroy and asks them if like they've heard his name. Basically, Roxroy ends up confirming to him that his name is being thrown out there. Uh, Roxroy was being very sus in this conversation. he was not he was not doing a good job of diffusing Romeo at all.
Mhm.
He was like kind of cagey about giving the info up, but then still ended up giving it up to him. And then obviously this information gets back to the Majority Alliance that Romeo is freaking out, uh, which is basically just like him asking questions about whether or not he's going home and being blindsided, which is a reasonable thing to do. Um, and the vote almost flips onto him. So.
Yeah, and it's like it's quite a rug pull for where Romeo was pre-merge, where
Yeah,
he was like very much in control, very much like dictating what was happening on that tribe, to just be completely out of the loop. It would be hard to recover, like as a player, being like it's too radical of like a shift in positioning to like play it cool, in my
yeah,
opinion.
It's that was the point I was going to make, is that he really went from being in like the strongest alliance to out of nowhere one day just being completely on the outs. Like apparently Dre, they're not even looking at him.
Mhm.
It's sort of, I guess, comparable to Chanel, I guess, other than the sense that Chanel kind of blew, like, was between them being blown up by Daniel and then really not wanting to recover for her own. It's like it's really like seemingly overnight you're in like this power alliance, and out of nowhere it's just gone, and
Yeah.
like maybe through no fault of your own. So I can see the frustrations there. I think the frustration for everybody else that he was just going around to every single person saying, "Hey, am I going to get voted out? Am I getting voted out?" And I think that's probably, I think High is getting a little too cocky in his position. Personally, this episode really showed that. I think that in last episode, him saying that he's like consider himself one of the more physical people, I thought was a little crazier. Uh, so I think now, because I think last week I had High as my favorite. I think now I'm going to flip over to Drea. Because I think High and his attitude could potentially bite him in the butt. Because I think that's a good point. I think that was really really harsh, especially for someone that you really weren't planning to vote out to begin with. He was really just going to be this kind of
Yeah.
your like backup just in case.
Like
I think
in,
I think that's something to watch with High. Is
yeah, and he didn't have to be like that. He could have like talk to Romeo and be like, listen, I know like you're not in the loop, but like don't worry, it's not you. Like I promise it's not you. Like try to like at least like alleviate his mind for this vote instead of just being like pretty dismissive of Romeo being like accurate about his situation.
Which makes me happy. It makes me happy that Romeo ended up voting for him. Kind of just being like a fuck you. Because I think the problem is that you're going to have now is that you're now splitting where Marianne, you basically have all the people that know they're on the outs that are going to start forming their own little alliance. So if they somehow can chip away at the larger alliance, I mean that's going to be bad because you're basically alienating all these people that want to work with the larger alliance. They're now pushing them off to like this like, and I know this happens pretty much every season, but I think it's more. I think there's a very clear line drawn last episode of who's going to work with who, and I think that we're now seeing like the misfit alliance start to merge with maybe like Tori with Marianne with Romeo.
And not for nothing. Hi, it's only been your original tribe getting voted off at this merge. Like you just have Mike left now, so maybe like try to be on good terms with the people on the outs a little bit.
I was surprised not more was made of him voting out Lydia too. I like maybe outside of what we saw that alliance really thought they were solid and there was no issue and he was going to vote Lydia. I was more surprised that wasn't brought up because that was his closest ally. Yeah. So surprised there wasn't more commentary there on him burning her.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that we probably missed a bit of setup from the Hourglass round because so much time had to be spent on like kind of setting things up for the twist and then setting things up in general. That like we did get kind of a normal amount of content we would expect from a merge episode, but I still think there's a lot of context that we're missing because I still am not confident as to why Drea wants Roxroy as her like number 2 that she's pulling over from the original tribe as opposed to Romeo, when it seems like Romeo had been her number 2 for at least like a few rounds before that. So
yeah, unclear, but fun that she's so cold with it.
Yeah. I guess we get to the tribal council. A lot of talk about driving cars and a bunch of forced metaphors.
Passengers and planes again. I know. I was actually thinking about like potentially like should I make a sketch where it's just like a Survivor character who just keeps adding like onto the metaphors in like awkward ways.
There was a post on the Reddit about basically doing that. It was like basically like a sketch about ice cream as a metaphor.
It's just so easy because you can totally like do it like as it becomes clearer that he's the person getting voted off, like trying to stretch the metaphor as to why he should be kept. Like, well, we'll see. Maybe we'll work something for that and use the green screen to make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's to blame for this. Who's to blame for these stupid metaphors? The game is not complicated enough for these metaphors. It's very straightforward.
It is Cochrane. It is Cochrane's fault. Cochrane and then Jeff trying to recapture the magic of Cochrane.
Other players trying to.
Yeah, because we've long. You know who was really the first one where I was like, okay, this needs to stop was Ryan and Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, where he like, you're trying way too hard with these like metaphors. But I think it peaked for me with Edge of Extinction with the fucking passengers and pilots.
Survivors like a box of chocolates.
Mm-hmm.
That's the next one. I don't know.
The Oregon Trail was my favorite one, though, in fairness. Sometimes you get dysentery and die.
It's very true.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the camp of say as little as possible at tribal council without like Jeff wanting to kill you.
Yeah.
And like that's been the tact that I've taken when I've played Survivor games is the less you can expose about your game at tribal council, the better off you are. And I think this is basically people's way of making television and giving production the sound bites they want while saying literally nothing.
Yeah, I think the best, like you said, Ben, the best thing you can do is keep it vague enough to where your allies think they know what you're saying, but like you're not really saying anything.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, this car is actually a clown car, and if there's 6 seats and there's only 4 of them, then somebody's gonna have to be out the moon roof, and when the car takes off, you better hope you're not in the other car.
Yeah. And to add to that, it's all just a circus, Jeff.
Yeah.
And Jeff, and with that, it's time to vote.
Yeah. Bravo! Absolute
Amazing.
Genius.
Really nailed it.
And somebody's gonna be standing there with cotton candy in their teeth,
Oh, what would be another one? So you add is like, sometimes you just get devoured by lions, like at the circus.
Sometimes you're walking the tightrope, and the other times you're the trapeze.
I think Jeff would love it.
Yeah.
And I would very much appreciate if people go on and just like make these types of metaphors that make no sense but are very like.
Just try to say the most ridiculous thing possible and have it stick and make the air and have Jeff treat it as like you're saying something rational.
Yeah. Or Jeff calls you on and just be like, I don't know what I mean. I have no idea, Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah. So, Ben, any last words for Chanel?
I mean, what am I gonna say? I thought that she would, do better. I'm not like super disappointed. It's kind of been a few weeks coming at this point. Like she's kind of just been hanging on by a thread for a bit now, so I'm not like super torn up about it. And yeah, I'll get him next time. 43 is my season, right? Brian 141, Dylan 142. I'm gonna take home 43.
Yeah, I mean, and you did at least your pick wasn't the first one out. I mean,
True. Yeah.
That's as bad as it can get, and at least she made the merge. So
both of my picks have made the merge. I've been just like straight down the middle. Second place both seasons. So yeah.
I don't win unless I win, so I'm still eating that ghost pepper.
Self-imposed. That should be clear. No one's making Dylan do this.
You're getting the first pick in 43 regardless.
I'm still like actively looking for like a healthy ghost pepper to eat.
I know, right? That's a tough pull right now. Might have to wait to do it for before the next season. Like, I'll grow one in the garden this summer.
You have all summer.
Yeah.
Ghost pepper.
We can do it for the preview podcast for 43.
Right.
Yeah. You guys have anything else to say?
I hope that the season kind of kicks it up now. I know this was kind of like everyone came together for a crazy vote last time. They kind of just rode this one out. Like, no one wanted to rock the boat, but I'm hoping that as less people are in the game, people make more, adventurous moves.
Yeah, we do get a preview here that Mike is going to try to bro down.
Yep.
Because it's a 6-4 disparity between men and women at this point, and one of the women is Tori, and another one is Marianne, who's also kind of on the outs. So the majority is already very very dude heavy at this point, and Drea is pretty much the only woman in the game that I would say has like a significant amount of inequity. So it's not surprising to me. Like, I kind of saw this coming, that there might be some kind of bro situation. But hopefully that's not the case, and it's just like a reflection that usually happens in these previews.
Yeah, when this was on screen and just popped up like Fallout style, like Jeff Probst liked this. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if the bro down happens or if it's just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I think it's probably smoke.
Yeah,
I just looked up ghost peppers and I'm a little nervous. So I'm looking. I knew they were obviously very hot, but I'm looking at it and reading about what it feels like, and I'm just getting nervous.
Yeah, you should also look up how to potentially counteract them.
I'm gonna have a bowl here for when I throw up. I'm gonna have a jug of milk. I'm gonna have
Milk
everything.
and bread is what I've heard.
Yeah, milk bread. Gordon Ramsay, when he went on Hot Ones, had like I think lemon juice to cut through it. I don't know how effective that was, but
Yeah.
could be something.
Yeah, that seems about right. I don't know. I'll let you guys know because I have to do a Carolina Reaper at some point for fantasy football, like I mentioned before. So I'll let you guys know how that is.
Brutal, absolutely
Um,
brutal.
Otherwise, you guys want to let people know where they can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DJ Cloverling with 2 B's. That's where I yell. That's it.
That's
Follow me
right.
there.
Yeah. I like it. You can follow me on Twitter at the fake BMR, this BMARR. Mostly tweet about the Celtics, the Dolphins. I'm actually wearing a Dolphins thing right now. And then if you don't want to just wait a week to hear me talk, I'm talking almost every day on our Wicked Good Sports channel about various sports. Or you can follow our new website, wickedgoodeverythingsports.com, where I blog mostly about football, currently about the USFL, because that's the thing that's happening, and who knows how long it will last. These spring leagues have not had great runs of late, but maybe USFL's the one. We'll see.
Yeah, certainly gonna be the one. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
This time it's gonna work. This
This
time.
is the time. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Ben Sharon. You can follow the main channel on Twitter at WG Everything, and you can follow the main channel on other platforms on TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube at Wicked Good Everything. This is on our podcast channel on YouTube, Better Radio. Otherwise, this is the Blindsiders, and we'll be back next week for the next episode of Survivor 42. Until then, we'll have a good one.
Later.